G'day reefers, I'm Cam the Fish Guy. Thanks for watching Gallery Aquatica TV. Today we're going to take you through the tips and tricks of maintaining and servicing one of the most popular tanks in Australia, the AquaReef 400. So let's have a look at some of the fish and corals in this AquaReef 400. First of all, on the left hand side, we've got a beautiful Hulk morph, and you can see it's quite large, but it's going to get even bigger than this still. And there's, I think it's a snowflake clownfish, no, it's a black ice clownfish, which is actually hosting to the Hulk morph. And we'll have a close look at this clownfish in a bit because it's actually a particularly aggressive clownfish. At the back you can see the first of two of the Zoa racks. So this is actually a ceramic frag rack which is magnetically attached to the back of the tank with a magnet on the outside, and there's a selection of Zoas that look absolutely beautiful. The contrast with the Zoas is excellent. There's a few SPS coral in this tank. So there's a blue Acropora stag, and in a sec we'll see the Dallas Acropora. There's also at the back, it's quite interesting, it's a Platygyra which is actually glued into the back corner of the tank, and we're hoping that it's going to grow onto the coralline algae, and so far it's going quite well. The Chalice have always done really well in this tank. We've got a turban coral with massive polyp extension. This turban almost looks like a Dunkanops samio, the size of its polyps. We've got Lithophyllum, we've got a nice leather with really good polyp extension. You can see that some of the frags are encrusting nicely onto the rock. We've got the wall coral and the Leptocerus. There's quite a few Zoas spotted throughout the tank. There's a particularly nice gold-tipped Giardini, and when this guy is fully open, he's just beautiful, really nice. To the right of him you can see the red Goniopora. Now this is a particularly nice colony. It started out a lot smaller than this, and over the last few months it's really grown well and it's absolutely beautiful. It's doing so well. You can see the second of the Zoa frag racks at the back there. This is probably my favourite. The contrast is even better with this one, and some really nice Zoas on it. And then we've got the Dallas Acropora, as well as a few, three different types of torches which are doing really well over this side. Interestingly, there's a really nice mix of fish in here. There's a yellow tang, a rabbit fish, but what I really like in this tank are the shrimp. And we've got a scarlet shrimp just in here, or a blood shrimp. And there's also a redline cleaner shrimp, which at the moment is on the frag rack at the back of the tank. And they're beautiful shrimp. So now we'll have a quick look at the componentry on this tank, because some of this, the parts of this tank, like the lighting, have been swapped out. So these AquaReef 400s come with a T5 lighting fluoro light system, and it's not the best type of lighting system, and the fluoros need to be replaced at some point, and so a lot of people will do what we've done here and replace the fluoros with like a top quality LED. So here we've got two Hydra 52 hyperdrives, and this provides us with the ability to really manipulate the light schedule and spectrum, and to give us the best lighting for this tank. It also provides excellent penetration, and one of the reasons why the coral in this tank are doing so well is because of this lighting system. Let's have a look at the water flow system. So this tank has got a number of wave makers. There's two tuns in each of the left top corner and the right top corner. Now they're just set on a constant flow, but the tank is given some flow randomization with a Gaia, and this is actually the 330, it is. So this is on a pulse, and the pulsing in combination with the set speed wave makers really gives some thorough mixing of the water and some really nice natural water movement. Let's have a look in the cabinet. So whilst the lighting and the water flow has really been upgraded, there's the filtration system is pretty much as it comes out of the box with this tank. This is the original skimmer that the tank comes with, and in a minute we're going to show you some tricks with keeping the skimmer maintaining, working its best. And these tanks come with a wet-dry trickle filter. So we'll talk about some of the reasons or some of the complications with running your wet-dry trickle filter. The return pumps have actually been swapped out, and we've got a dosing pump running on this tank. So this is basically all of the gear that we're running. So let's do the water change and we'll run you through servicing the filter on this tank. Every time we service a tank like this with a dosing pump, we always look at what the levels of the calcium, carbon hardness and magnesium are, so that we can then adjust the dosing pump as required. So we'll start by testing calcium, KH and mag, but we'll also do nitrate, phosphate and salinity. So all the parameters are within the range that we're looking for, so we're actually not going to adjust the dosing pump this time. So now let's start the service on the filter. And to start off, I'm going to drain some water from the filter into this bucket because I'm going to clean the sponges in the back left-hand corner. It's always important to clean any mechanical filter or sponge filters in water that's come from the tank because you do want to preserve the beneficial bacteria on these sponges. So whilst this is filling into the bucket, I'm going to turn off the return pump, the skimmer and the wave makers. And now I'm going to pull out the sponges to clean them in this water. With a lot of these AquaReef 400s, the sumps get modified, and you would have seen some of our videos where we've actually changed the sump out for acrylic sumps. So that is an option, but this one is pretty much original, and a lot of people change the biological filter in here. So let's just clean this. A lot of people swap out these black bioballs. Now, the problem that some people have with black bioballs is just the fact that they're a very efficient way of converting organics in the system to nitrate. Now, as long as you're careful with your nitrate level, and we always check it, then this is actually quite an efficient form of filtration, but nitrate is the one thing you need to be careful with. Alright, so we've cleaned our sponge. Just putting this back in the corner. The main thing that this sponge does is it acts as a bit of a splash guard. It stops the water splashing over the side of the tank. Alright, now the fun part, the skimmer. And we're going to give this a good service, and I'll show you one of the tricks with these skimmers to ensure that they're skimming efficiently. And it's to do with the pump down here. So I'm going to remove the pump. To do so, I need to take off these arms, and the pump is on this middle section. Comes out like so. Now, these skimmers do cop a lot of flack. Now, one of the main problems that people will have with these skimmers is that the air intake can clog. And so it's important to ensure that the air intake is able to draw air in, and this is the little part here that we're going to clean out. So I'm just going to get my trusty Leatherman. I'll put this here, and on my Leatherman I have the perfect tool for clearing the air intake, and it's this little probe. So I'm just going to insert it like so, and I'm going to use it to scrape the edges inside this air intake to remove the calcium buildup. Okay. Something you can do is soak this in vinegar, and that will also help, but today we're just going to clean it out like so. I can tell that it's not too clogged. Sometimes this will clog entirely and the skimmer won't be able to draw air into it and it will cease working. So I'll put all this back. The tubing goes on like that. And actually, before we put this all back together, we'll look at the impeller. This is something else that you can clean. So normally I just take this with a toothbrush. It's not too bad at the moment, so I'll probably just leave it go. All right, so I'll put that back in, put this cover back on. All right, and now we'll put this back in the tank. Make sure I get it the right way. Okay, that's it. It goes on like that. So I probably clear this air intake every maybe 3 months or so. But what you do more regularly is clean the cup. Now this comes off very easily. Sometimes you'll have a problem with these skimmers that you get a slight leak from the top where the cup seals onto the body of the unit. So I generally will use a little bit of Vaseline, and that will often fix the problem. This cup is incredibly clean. The clients are really diligent with this, so I'm actually not even going to bother about it. I'll just put this back. But that's pretty much it for these skimmers, and whilst they're not the most popular skimmer on the market, if you look after them and you do these types of maintenance, you will actually get relatively good skim out of them. Okay, so this is it for the sump. Next we'll go up the top and we'll do some maintenance in the tank. So I'm going to do a gravel vac on this tank. The thing I'm worried about is that this clownfish is incredibly aggressive. So she's already having a look at me, and all right. I mean, it's not that I'm scared of a clownfish, but she's so annoying. You may recall a video that we did recently with a fish called Chomper, who was also a little bit aggressive. Well, this female clownfish is probably the second most aggressive fish after Chomper. She's so persistent. The worst thing is when I've got like a little bit of loose skin or a cut or something and she just hits the cut. I'm just gonna have to live with this clownfish nipping me. So you can see that the substrate has got a fair bit of organics, detritus in it. So I'm going to try and remove as much of that as possible. Yeah, see, I'm near a Hulk morph now. I can understand why she's going for me here. So now that we've filled up our tank, we're going to turn everything back on again. You can see with the Aquapora in particular, but a lot of the coral, that they're releasing slime. Now that's partly because with our pump we've actually created a lot of micro bubbles, but also because the corals have been out of the water and they actually exude that slime to avoid desiccation. So let's turn everything back on. And there's the return. So we've finished our service on our AquaReef 400, and once the water clears up it'll be looking beautiful again. These tanks are deservedly popular, and they're great systems that can be modified, as with this one, with the lighting and the water flow. The filtration can be modified or left as it is. There's lots of options with these tanks, so they're an excellent system for your first reef tank, or even for someone that's been keeping marines for a long time. But that's our video for today, so hopefully you've enjoyed this close look at the AquaReef 400, and we'll bring you much more videos in the future. So I'm Cam the Fish Guy, happy reefing! So that's our video for today. If you enjoyed it, hit the like button, hit the subscribe as well. We'll be putting out videos every week showing a new tank with new products. There's going to be lots in all the videos. I'm Cam the Fish Guy, and keep on reefing.